Welcome to your News Ticker Central, your place for technology and gadget top lists, must-haves and reviews. Review of MSI Alpha 15 A3DDK gaming laptop with AMD Radeon RX 5500M graphics. MSI has been making laptops for a long time. It is well known in the market, but only the company's managers are able to immediately figure out all these GS75, GE66 and GT76, so we welcome the recently begun process of endowing products with normal names. The company does not intend to give up the traditional gaming lines, but since last year understandable gaming notebooks have appeared in its arsenal in the Alpha line. The logo of the new series is a stylized green creature, in which you can guess a bird with raised wings, instead of the old dragon. According to the official mythology of the brand, this is a Thunderbird. But what prompted MSI to release gaming laptops in the new line? There really was a reason. These are AMD plus AMD solutions, with Ryzen 3000 processors and Radeon RX 5000 NVIDIA cards. Now, after the release of mobile Ryzen on the Zen 2 core, Ryzen 4000 series, these processors seem to be the clear favorites, and Alpha 15 laptops are thus already a little outdated. However, it will not hurt us at all to get acquainted with AMD discrete video accelerators. Configuration and packaging. As already mentioned, the Alpha 15 model is still the only one in the new line. But, of course, this model is presented in several modifications, differing mainly in the processor and discrete video card, as well as the keyboard. In an ordinary cardboard box, with a carrying handle, along with a laptop, you can find only a 180W power adapter weighing 640 grams with a total length of 2 cables of 2.6 meters and printed materials. Appearance and ergonomics. In appearance, weight and dimensions, the MSI Alpha 15 is a typical 15.6-inch gaming laptop. It does not create an impression of lightness and elegance. On the contrary, it flaunts a little with the fact that it has a productive and powerful configuration, using color accents and design details. Of the obvious shortcomings, we can only mention the design of the logo on the lid. The pasted-in foil picture is prone to tearing. All surfaces of the laptop are black matte. The ventilation cutout takes up almost half of the bottom area. This part is covered with a net. The legs scattered all over the bottom virtually eliminate the possibility of the ventilation holes being blocked when the laptop is placed on the table, although there is no reception against a thick blanket. At the same time, these legs raise the speakers located in the front of the bottom above the surface. The lid opens quite easily, it can be picked up almost anywhere, and it swings open with one hand, but when you open it, the laptop case bounces. The hinges are not rigid, but at the same time, the lid hardly loosens if you touch it with your finger. The lid can be opened approximately 153 degrees. There are no interface connectors on the rear panel of the case, only ventilation holes. There are also vents for exhausting hot air on the left side, and cold air is taken in only through the bottom. There are 3 indicators on the front end of the case: drive activity, Wi-Fi on and charging. The indicators are very strangely located under the ledge of the case on the front edge, so they are almost never visible. You have to take the laptop and lift it, its lower part, to eye level or strongly deflect it away from the table. At first we thought that the LEDs shine downwards, and thus the indication will be visible right on the table. However, in fact, LEDs shine in a rather narrow beam approximately parallel to the surface of the table, so they cannot be seen even so. The fastest way is to place your finger, at an angle to the front end and see the corresponding spot. However, the charging indicator still shines only with white light, not allowing you to notice a strong discharge or, conversely, almost full battery charge. The only change in the mode of its operation, it goes out when charging up to 100%. In general, the indicators here are more for show. On the left side you can also find a Kensington lock hole, a wired network connector, RJ45, HDMI and mini display port video outputs, one USB 3.0 Type A port, one USB 3.0 Type C port with increased current, but only when operating from network, and 2 mini jacks for connecting a microphone and headphones. The latter can also output a digital signal via an optical S/TIF cable. On the right side there is a power connector for a proprietary round-shaped plug, an SD card reader slot, and 2 USB 3.0 Type A ports. These ports are unusually located almost at the very front edge of the case. In general it seemed convenient to us. In addition, backlighting is supported for all USB Type A ports. In the proprietary Dragon Center utility, you can configure its mode: full, half brightness, constant light or breathing, off. The screen on the lid is enclosed in a moderately thin frame. Its thickness is 6 mm on the left and right, 9 mm on the top and 31 mm on the bottom. On the top of the frame is a webcam with a signal LED, the quality is traditionally inferior, and 2 microphones. This time, MSI managed to fit into a 15.6-inch laptop not only a keyboard with a normal size of the main keys, but also a numeric pad with only slightly reduced keys, and print screen, scroll lock and pause, break buttons, which are almost never found in laptops, and full-size arrows, and 4 of 6 editor keys. Perhaps, it is the latter that we have the biggest complaints about. Ins and del should definitely have been swapped, and home and end are probably more important than page up, page down. Now home and end have to be pressed with FN, which is far away. However, in the Dragon Center settings, you can swap FN and Win, and since it is on the keys at the right edge that the functions for adjusting the screen brightness and keyboard backlight, sound volume are hung, it is more convenient to press these combinations with one hand with FN on the right. The hole on the left edge is the caps lock indicator. The laptop does not have a noon lock indicator. When you press the FN button on the keyboard, those buttons that have a special function in this combination are highlighted, except, for some reason, home and end. The keyboard has a membrane mechanism and an island arrangement of keys. The buttons are moderately large, comfortable. The distance between the centers of the keys in one row is 19 mm, and between their edges, 3.5 mm. It is comfortable to type on the keyboard. Pressing the keys is clearly felt. There are practically no sounds when typing. The total key travel is quite deep, almost 1.8 mm. There is a 3-level brightness backlight. The 4th state is off. Both the symbols on the keys and their sides are highlighted. The keyboard is called MSI per key RGB keyboard. That is, the color of each key is randomly configured separately. Above the keyboard, too close for our taste, in the hollow there are 3 small narrow buttons, Power, Cooler Boost and SteelSeries Engine 3. They are hard to feel and press. It probably helps against accidental presses, but does not add confidence to the user. The indicator in the power button signals a working video card. Orange, discrete card is active. White, integrated graphics is active. Pressing the Cooler Boost button activates this maximum mode of the cooling system regardless of the current profile. It can also be done from the Dragon Center utility. Sequential pressing of the SteelSeries Engine 3 button in an unobvious order goes through the modes of the keyboard backlighting. This can be done more clearly from the utility of the same name. In the traditional place under the keyboard there is a recessed touchpad measuring 110 x 62 mm. It has 2 dedicated keys, corresponding to standard mouse buttons, and the touchpad does not support pressing, which is even unusual nowadays. However, the touchpad supports all modern gestures, including scrolling through window contents and invoking the context menu, switching desktops, and minimizing and maximizing windows with 2, 3, or 4 fingers. There are no complaints about the convenience of working with the touchpad, except that it is too small for 4-finger gestures. The touchpad can be quickly disabled with a keyboard shortcut. Unfortunately, the laptop does not have such a convenient fingerprint scanner in everyday life. Apparently this is not a gaming attribute. Internal hardware. To remove the bottom panel of the case, you need to unscrew several screws for a Phillips screwdriver. This opens up access to both coolers, non-removable battery, wireless network adapter, SSD in the M.2 slot, and 2 memory modules in the SO-DIMM slots. Also, the laptop has a place for installing a 2.5-inch HDD/SSD, in our case it was empty. Battery. The laptop battery has a capacity of 51 watts. The battery life of the laptop is not very long, which could well be assumed by the size of the battery. However, for a gaming laptop, this is completely normal, and if you do not try to play on battery power, then it is quite possible to do a little work or play away from the outlet. To protect the battery from frequent charging cycles, a popular software solution is used. In the proprietary Dragon Center utility, you can choose one of 3 scenarios. If you mainly work from the mains, charging starts when the charge level drops to 50% and lasts until 60%, in balanced mode, up to 80% after falling to 70%, and finally, only if you need maximum autonomy, charging goes up to 100%. You can quickly switch between scenarios. You can also calibrate the battery from the same utility. MSI recommends doing this every 3 months. The battery here is of average capacity, but it charges slowly. It takes a little over 2 hours, for a new laptop, to charge it from 0 to about 97%. Workload and heating. The laptop has 2 coolers, but they have a pair of heat pipes in common, so both coolers always participate in cooling at least passively. The fans suck in cold air through a large cutout in the bottom of the case, while hot air is blown back into the left. This practically does not interfere with the person sitting in front of the laptop. Fan speeds can vary widely depending on load and cooling scenarios. In cooler boost mode, they can exceed 6,000 RPM. Let's start with the extreme performance profile, with which everything is clear from the beginning: maximum performance at any cost. In general, when the processor is loaded with a load, it always raises the consumption to 45W literally for a couple of seconds, providing the maximum possible performance, but it immediately blows away. To be honest, we don't see any point in setting up the automatic overclocking system like this. It usually makes the coolers screech. Further, the processor works for quite a long time with almost nominal consumption of 37 watts and a high core frequency of 3.5 GHz. There is no overheating and it is close, and this despite the fact that the fan related to the cooler of the video card for some reason does not help its partner. However, it has to gradually spin up to 4,300 revolutions per minute to keep the situation under control, and the noise becomes clearly audible. After about 5 minutes, the processor consumption drops to 30W for no apparent reason, and the core frequency drops to 3.3 GHz. In this mode, at a lower temperature, the processor can, apparently, work indefinitely. Conclusion. What about the laptop in general? It did not make a deafening impression. The configuration is interesting in its own way, but not the most relevant. The appearance is typically playful, but hardly charming. You cannot call the case thin and light. Solid functionality, interface ports, keyboard, loud sound, good gaming display, rich software support, these are pluses. On the other hand, the MSI Alpha 15 has a short, average, battery life, a high noise level in those modes where they do not save on speed, low processor performance by modern standards, and a video card that provides comfort in games only at high speeds. And not the maximum graphics quality in the native screen resolution, Full HD. The fact is that in one of the most interesting components, the video card, the laptop simply has no competitors, since no one else uses AMD Radeon RX 5500M. Well, except for the Apple MacBook Pro 16. But we will not seriously compare with it. Do you use an MSI gaming laptop? Which laptop do you think is the best for gaming? Let us know in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.